This week on Trans World Sports, we meet multiple Grand Slam doubles champion Jamie Murray.
We head to Sri Lanka to find out more about the ancient martial art of Angampora.
We join promising long-distance runner Felicien Muhitira at home in Rwanda.
And hear about Luton Town's remarkable 12-year journey back from non-league football to England's second tier.
Jamie Murray is a six-time Grand Slam doubles champion. Alongside his younger brother Andy, Jamie was an integral part of Great Britain's 2015 Davis Cup winning team. Transworld Sport caught up with the 33-year-old as he was filming a series of training videos for his new YouTube channel.
YouTube's a great platform for people to learn things. I think also, in our country anyway, it's expensive. Like, people don't necessarily have 20, 30 pounds to go to their club coach and pay for a lesson. Hopefully it helps some people. I think it would probably give a bit more insight into my life, what it takes to train to be a top doubles player.
Born in Dunblane, Scotland in 1986, Jamie Murray burst onto the tennis scene when he won the Wimbledon mixed doubles title with Jelena Jankovic in 2007. It was his first Grand Slam mixed doubles tournament, having only decided to focus full-time on doubles the previous year. Jamie began his long-standing partnership with coach Louis Kaya in 2006. However, it has taken the best part of a decade for Jamie to reach the top of the men's game.
A lot of players want success right away. Everybody wants success right away. I remember telling you and Piers it's going to take 3 years before you can get to the O2 and get to the top. And on the third year, you make the O2 together.
Yeah.
It takes long to develop because you have to master your own game style. Doubles is quite tricky. People misunderestimate how difficult it is. You have one player, who have to master your game style, your patterns, your shot. You had Piers, now it's Bruno Suarez, who has to master his own game style. But the team needs its own game style too. So it's like coaching three people. I coach you, I coach Bruno, and I coach a team.
In 2016, with Brazilian partner Bruno Suarez, the pair claimed the Australian and US Open men's doubles titles, culminating in Jamie reaching world #1. The following year, he won back-to-back mixed doubles titles at Wimbledon and the US Open with Martina Hingis, and defended the US Open crown last year with Bethany Matek-Sands. Jamie has led the way for doubles in the UK, and earlier this year, Great Britain had 7 male doubles players ranked inside the ATP Top 50.
We're doing something right here. We're the best in the world currently at producing doubles players, and it's not an easy thing to do. And Louis Kai, my coach and LTA coach, he's done an amazing job again of bringing through another batch of younger players, and those guys will go on to be at the top of the game for quite a long time, would have thought.
When he's not travelling the world playing tennis, Jamie tries to give back to the sport and encourage children to pick up a racket. Since beginning a new partnership with a sportswear brand, he's become more involved in charity work.
Yeah, so we're doing an event with Rackets Cubed, which is basically a charity that sort of brings tennis and squash actually to inner city kids, disadvantaged children, and they bring them in from the local schools. They provide tennis or squash lesson. They get an hour's worth of maths tuition, not necessarily like sat in a classroom, but out and about, and they get a well-balanced meal as well.
Following a first-round loss at the French Open earlier this year, Jamie decided to call time on his successful partnership with Bruno Suarez. His new partner is fellow Briton Neil Skupski.
We played 3.5 years together. It was a lot of success in that time. We won Grand Slams, finished #1 team, won a bunch of tournaments on the ATP tour. But yeah, it just felt like was time for something different. Obviously, risky decision because I had a lot of success with Bruno, but yeah, it just felt like time was right to change and go in a different direction.
With brother Andy recently returning to the court as a doubles player, there's been heightened interest in the doubles game. However, this is rarely reflected in the prize money. At the 2019 Australian Open, the winner of the men's singles title received over 10 times the prize money of the winner of the men's doubles.
The ratio on the ATP is an 80-20 split between singles and doubles. I feel like doubles deserves more of a share of the prize money, but you know that needs a push from the ATP and the tournaments, and us having to sort of buy into doubles and you know pushing the product more, which to be fair they have been doing, but you know it probably takes time to show results.
The scoring system for doubles at ATP events allows for the matches to be shorter than singles. This will help doubles players enjoy longer careers, and for Jamie, give him the chance to check off his final few career goals.
I'd love to win Wimbledon, love to win French Open, and feel like I've finished my career having won 4 Grand Slams. I mean, whether that happens or not, I don't know, but until I stop playing, that will be my goal. I mean, Olympics is next year. Always done rubbish in the Olympics for whatever reason. So it'd be nice to like at least have a run there where you feel like you're in contention to perhaps win a medal. And the doubles is always so like keenly contested there as well, because all the a gold medal is a gold medal. It's just, whether it's singles, doubles, mixed doubles. So everyone wants to play and win. So.
With 41-year-old Mike Bryan spending the last 12 months ranked #1 in the world, Jamie believes he can continue to play into his 40s.
I still love playing, love competing, especially now I feel like I'm always going to these events with an opportunity to win. And yeah, so and also like for it, I mean the sort of ex-players that I speak to, like so many of them just say, play as long as you can. Like life after it's not the same.
And now for this week's sporting question. "26-year-old American Sloane Stephens will be one of the tennis players to watch out for at the end of this month, when the 4th and final major of the year, the US Open, gets underway at Flushing Meadows in New York. In 2017, Sloane shocked the tennis world by winning her debut major at the US Open. Only weeks before the event, she was ranked 975th in the WTA rankings, following a lengthy layoff due to injury. Sloane went on to make it to the French Open final the following year, where she was defeated by Romania's Simona Halep in 3 sets. Sloane hasn't progressed beyond the quarter-final stage at any of the Grand Slams this year, but don't put it past her to spring a surprise at her home tournament. And the US Open gives us the subject of our question. We'd like to know which woman in the Open era has won the most successive US Open titles. We'll bring you the answer later in the show.
Situated 100 kilometres off the southeastern coast of India lies the island nation of Sri Lanka. A diverse, multicultural melting pot, this land is home to many different religions, ethnic groups and languages. Yet for all the diversity and change that Sri Lanka has seen over the years, there remains one constant that we were keen to find out more about, and that is the ancient martial art of Angampora.
Angampora is the traditional fighting art of Sri Lankans. This martial art has been practiced for thousands of years here. And despite nearly dying out, it's been passed down through generations, and it lives on.
The first written references to Angampora date back some 2,500 years. The martial art combines the use of indigenous weapons, hand-to-hand combat and meditation. Angampora was passed down from generations of ancient kings, warriors and ordinary citizens, with the ultimate aim being the protection of the nation from foreign invaders. Pumal Adirasinga is a master of the art.
Angampora can be divided into spiritual meditation, unarmed combat and armed combat.
When the British colonised Sri Lanka in 1815, the practice was almost lost as part of the country's heritage. The British administration banned Angampora due to the dangers posed by a civilian population well versed in a martial art. Flouting of the law was punished by a gunshot to the knee, effectively crippling practitioners of the art. However, Angampora was kept alive by a few brave families.
There are 21 main weapons used in Angampora armed combat, so practicing and being accomplished at using those weapons will make you a notable fighter. Our senior gurus tell us that no one can totally master all of the different types of weaponry in one lifetime. There simply isn't enough time.
Students set off on the long road to becoming an Angampora guru from an early age. One man who has dedicated his life to Angampora is 72-year-old senior guru Premisiri Malambadarachchi.
I'm still training. I've given everything to Angampora, but there are lots of things which I still don't know. I started when I was about 14 years old, so it's almost 60 years now, and I'm still learning.
In recent years, following on from the Sri Lankan Civil War, the country's Ministry of Culture and Arts has taken action to support the survival and preservation of Angampora. Many exhibitions are now staged across the nation with the aim of increasing public awareness and fueling interest in this martial art.
There are a lot of young people who actually find out about Angampora through social media. They want to learn it, and we believe that if you want to practice it and you're committed to it, then you'll do well.
Women have long participated in Angampora, even though they haven't always been welcomed. One of today's leading female exponents of the art is Nilmini Amarasinghe.
I started learning about Angampora from quite a young age. I was around 10 years old or so. Growing up, it had always interested me and I really wanted to learn it because I had an uncle who practiced it. It looked really interesting and challenging. But as I wanted to learn more about Angampora, the master who taught my uncle refused to teach me because I'm a girl. After that, I was searching for someone to learn from, and fortunately for me, things turned out well, as I met Master Pumal.
It's not only people from Sri Lanka who are becoming more and more interested in this martial art. Angampora has recently opened its doors to international students who are interested in grasping the ideals and techniques practiced. Christoph Hoffmann, who hails from Germany, has spent the last 5 years travelling the world studying various martial art disciplines.
I think here with Angampora, the spiritual side still plays an important role, which was a big reason for me to come here. I wanted to see something which is more pristine compared to all the martial arts, which are already largely focused on competition. I think here it is much more about tradition, of unifying the spiritual with the body.
This art has many parts to it. It's not only about fighting. There's also the practice of medicine, astrology, and meditation.
Every single Sinhala martial art is closely bound up with Buddhism, and Angampora is no exception.
The essence of Angampora is self-defense. The aim is to disarm an assailant rather than provoke aggression, in keeping with the Buddhist philosophy.
The most important quality that you have to learn is humanity.
Mainly, we train how to be patient. In Angampora, we teach students that you don't go looking for a fight.
Angampora can be divided into 4 different stages of study. A student has to be fully versed in one stage before they can advance to the next. Over the course of 3 years, students are taught by their gurus the ways of unarmed combat before moving on to advanced unarmed and armed combat techniques. Those techniques include grappling and strikes to the body's pressure points, which are known as Maru Kalawa, or the art of death. Considered the most advanced skill, it is practiced only by an elite few.
Your technique is more important than your physical strength. For example, how you move while fighting can determine the outcome of a fight. We call it Adi Marua. This allows you to block an attack very easily and throw a counterpunch back in seconds.
In my opinion, the gripping and throwing techniques are very effective in this martial art, as are the attacks on pressure points, especially when it comes to self-defense. The punches and kicks that I see here are more effective than in many other martial arts.
Perhaps the most important teaching of Angampora is that spiritual and physical strength go hand in hand. And in today's world, that is certainly resonating with the increasing numbers of people who are taking up this traditional Sri Lankan martial art.
I would have to say that what I love most about Angampora is the life lessons I've learnt from it. The feeling that I can do anything, and the strength to go forward with a firm backbone. Angampora has given me that, and so much more.
Before I started, I didn't have much self-confidence. But as I began practicing this art, my personality and confidence grew. Angampora has taught me that I can handle any bad situation which I find myself facing, and I can look after myself. It's not just physical toughness I've learnt. I was struggling mentally as well, but the teachings of Angampora have helped me to overcome my fears and be stronger.
A sport all about preparation and covering your bases. Going out and blowing away the field. And making it round as quickly as possible. This is Rallycross. Last week, Canada hosted the 7th round of the World Rallycross Championship. It was the first time since the season opener in Abu Dhabi that the competition had left Europe, and the people of Trois-Rivières came out in force for this pivotal round of the World RX. The Hansen brothers went into the meet sitting number 1 and 2 on the leaderboard, but with 5 different winners in the 6 races run so far this season, the grip at the top was far from confirmed. The likes of Andreas Backerud and Nicholas Gronholm were hoping to catch the Swedish pair off guard in Canada on one of the longest courses in this year's championship. The track was just short of 1.5 kilometres, including the Joker, but who would have the last laugh in Canada? Andreas Backerud and Kevin Hansen made the final, but Kevin's brother Timmy didn't qualify.
Shooter gets away from the line, he gets a great start, but Backerud's been beaten by Timosiano on the run down towards the first corner. Baumann is trying to come around the outside of those two. Backerud holding the inside line, a huge bang from the anti-lag as they come past us. And the common tradition, Kevin Hansen's gone up the inside of Markland. Kevin Hansen potentially up into third, not quite. Fourth place slots in behind Timosiano. Balmanis has gone up into P2. So Shisharin's going well, but it's Backerud who's out front. Who's going to go? Joker Timosiano goes straight away, and Markham's gone with him. Backerud slides a little bit wide.
Norway's Andreas Backerud, who sat third overall before Canada, took an early lead. He was chasing his first victory since 2016.
Kevin goes Joker. Where's he going to come out? He's a little bit deep on the exit. Marken might beat him here. Kevin Hansen up the inside of Anton Marken. Oh, he's into the side of him. Anton won't like that. Anton spun round. I think Kevin could get a penalty for that, but we'll see. Anton's going to spin it round on the gas and on the handbrake, trying to get it facing back the other way. This has played into Andreas Backerud's hands massively. Balmanis is still there in P2. Balmanis got third in Norway, but only after all the shenanigans at the front end. So Yannis Balmanis goes into the Joker lap now. Balmanis is jokering to try and hold on to a P2, which will be his best ever result in the World Rallycross Championship, and he's got out in front of Kevin Hansen. I'm really pleased. Oh, Kevin's gone round! Kevin's gone round!
Both Kevin Hansen and Anton Markland suffered crashes.
Andreas Backerud goes into the Joker lap. He keeps it super smooth. There is nobody there to challenge him. Yannis Balmanis is just a couple of car lengths back. Timosyanov up into third place. So much change around the back. Where's Markland compared to Kevin Hansen? I'm trying to figure out if he can get back past him or if he's disappeared. It hasn't managed to go Andreas Backerud's way. He had a big fight with Timosyanov. He's had little technical issues. He had one at Silverstone where it didn't work out. But frankly, he is completely and utterly unchallenged in this final in Canada. And for the first time since Argentina 16, Andreas Backerud takes the win in Canada. And he closes down the championship points to Kevin Hansen in the process. The last 3 rounds of this championship are going to be epic. They're going mad in the spotters tower.
Andreas Backerud with the victory.
You know, we have worked hard as a team. EGS haven't won since, I think, beginning of 2017. I haven't won since the end of 2016. It's been some challenging months before the season started, and I feel we have been so close in Silverstone, in Belgium, in Sweden, and no, everything worked, and it was not without drama. In the start, I burned the clutch. After that, my subframe in the rear came loose, and it was hitting the dirt, so my car was everywhere, but we managed to stick it together. Huge thanks to the RX Cartel for doing a great job, and all the guys involved, the Backerud Blues back home in Bergen. I know you guys are at Felix, so a big thank you.
Felicien Muhitire is one of Rwanda's most promising long-distance runners. Recently, the 24-year-old defended his French half-marathon Marvejols Monde title for the 3rd consecutive time and is aiming for yet more glory in 2019. During our trip to Rwanda this year, we were keen to get to know Felicien. So we headed to the Kayonza district in the Eastern Province, where he lives and trains.
The most unique thing about Rwanda are the hills. As we like to say, we are the land of 1,000 hills. When I run, I love being surrounded by them. And there is high altitude here too. It's a good place to train.
Felicien hails from Rwanda's Ujazira district. Before taking up running, football and cycling were his main passions.
I used to play football for my school and I competed at regional level, but I decided to drop it to pursue athletics. My coaches at the time, Adrian and Mutangana, inspired me to get into running. They told me that I was more suited to this sport based on my height and body type. In a short time, you could become a household name like Disi Dieudonné and Matthias, they said, so I continued to run.
The very same year Felicien took up the sport, he was selected to represent Rwanda at the 2013 IAAF African Junior Championships in Mauritius. In the 10,000 metres, he finished a respectable 5th place. Felicien would step up to the senior international circuit the following year. He's gone from strength to strength ever since.
In 2014, the first medal I won was from a race in Zanzibar at the East African Games, and that's the first medal I brought home to Rwanda. The next year, I received a few 4th and 5th place finishes, but I really started noticing a change after turning professional and getting my residence permit to compete in Europe. In 2016, I won a number of medals in Europe. My toughest competitions have been the ones in France, and I've won more than 3 races there. I believe I've won over 10 in Italy, and here in Africa I've also won a few medals. As you can see in my house, I've got more than 20 medals hanging up and lots of trophies on display that I'm proud of. Over the years, I've broken records and have continued to lower my time. Certain results from the marathons I've competed in recently have enabled me to qualify for the World Athletics Championships.
Today, Felicien is a member of the Italy Marathon Club. Later this year, in Doha, he'll compete in his first full marathon at a World Athletics Championships. His wish is to surpass his idol, DC Dieudonné, who is regarded as Rwanda's most successful long-distance runner. Now retired, DC competed in the marathon at the 2009 World Championships, but didn't complete it due to an injury. Felicien is set on becoming one of the world's leading marathon runners. Away from training and competing, he likes to relax at home and spend time with his auntie who helped raise him.
I often help with chores around the house, such as running errands, going to the field to help carry what has been harvested. I escort the workers to the field, go see the cows to get milk, that kind of thing.
I used to wonder where he got his talent from. He just kept growing and getting stronger and stronger. I'm very proud. It's special.
East Africa is home to some of the world's best distance runners. Although Rwanda is located in this region, it seems a little way off replicating the athletic success stories of Kenya, Uganda and Ethiopia. Since Rwanda's debut at the Los Angeles Olympics in 1984, it remains the only country in East Africa to have not won an Olympic medal in any sport. With Tokyo 2020 just around the corner and his chances of competing in Japan seemingly high, could it be Felicien Muhitara who makes history for Rwanda?
When I think about competing on the world stage, there are 2 things that stand out. Firstly, going there with your national flag and hearing the national anthem being played. How amazing it would feel to represent your country. As an athlete, if I could win a medal at the Olympics, it would open up so many doors for me. If I were to be successful, I might be able to get an endorsement deal. And that would enable me to wear clothing brands like my friends Eliud Kipchoge does and DC Dieudonné used to wear. So my goal is to get a medal at the Tokyo Olympics. I believe that I'm ready to get one.
This is Bells Beach in Victoria, Australia.
Bells is a fairly unique place because it retains, it's only a few kilometres out of town, but it retains that raw natural feel. It's the home of the longest continuously running surfing contest anywhere in the world. And certainly the beach has got a lot of presence too. There's times when we take groups out there and talk to them about the overlapping natural history, Indigenous history and surfing history. So it's a really important place.
Located around 100 kilometres south of Melbourne and close to Torquay, Bells Beach is one of the most famous surfing locations in the world. It has hosted the Rip Curl's Pro Bells Beach event since 1962 and attracts surfers from Australia and abroad year on year. We met former pro Adam Robertson to learn a little bit more about this place.
We're here at Bells Beach. It's probably one of the most iconic surf breaks in the world, and it's the home of the Rip Curl Pro, which is one of the major surfing events in the world, hosted by the World Surf League. And it's a fantastic wave, and it's a really special spot to myself and a lot of surfers in the area and a lot of surfers who come and surf here. So I grew up in Victoria and my family surfs, and my dad introduced me to surfing at about 3 or 4 years of age. The Rip Curl Pro was special to me because I'd watched the Rip Curl Pro from a kid growing up, seeing all the professional surfers come here every year and seeing your heroes surf and surf a wave that you can surf, and you can surf when they're gone and things like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed my chance that I had in surfing in the Rip Curl Pro event. I mean, being a professional surfer and spending time travelling, doing something that I loved was the highlight before any event results or anything like that. I was really fortunate to have some good contest results. I was able to make the final here in 2009, where I got second.
Since leaving the World Surf League Tour in 2011, Adam has gone on to become CEO of Surfing Victoria, a company that aims to bring Bells Beach to a new demographic.
We run some great female programs, Indigenous programs. We run the Rip Curl Pro. We run a lot of events, state-based events. So yeah, it's a great place to work. It's great to be able to pass on knowledge to up-and-coming junior surfers about becoming a professional surfer, or the intricacies of surfing in competition. And it's great to run entry-level programs that bring surfing to different communities and Indigenous communities and females, and it's just a really nice spot to work.
Bells Beach was recently listed as a site of historical importance by the National Trust, but this area has always held significance for the surfing community. Many surfers, including Kelly Slater and Mick Fanning, have regularly ruled these waves.
We're lucky, we've got a lot of coastline. You can always find a spot to surf, and you can find there's always a wave around the corner.
The Great Ocean Road starts here in Torquay, and the area basically between Torquay and Bells is called the Golden Mile. There's a number of quality surf breaks in a relatively short area, but realistically that extends right down the coast as you travel down the Great Ocean Road.
Torquay, it's a real surf-centric town, and it's got a history, a really long history of the Rip Curl Pro, and there's a lot of brilliant surf companies that have come out of Torquay, and lots of that has come off the back of Bells being such a significant wave in Australia and a significant part of the history of the sport of surfing in Australia.
The surf companies Rip Curl and Quicksilver started out here in Torquay as cottage industries and have grown. They've both got large headquarters here in Torquay and large retail spaces as well, so that's acted as a magnet for other businesses or like businesses, and Surf City has evolved here just off the Surf Coast Highway. We've got some of the most consistent and powerful waves in the world. We're exposed to the Southern Ocean and the roaring 40s, and it's a really favourable surfing area. It's rare here to have days when there's no surf. It's cold, it's challenging, but the fact that there's consistent, powerful waves draws surfers to this area.
In his role as CEO of Surfing Victoria, Adam is passionate about the sport and keen to pass it on to the next generation.
I still surf quite a bit, which is unreal. I love doing it, as I said, and I'll surf whenever I can. Nowadays I've got kids, and yeah, I've been surfing a lot with my 5-year-old son, which is amazing. And yeah, now I'm just trying to do what my dad did for me and pass on the sport and enjoy doing it with my family. So yeah, that's what I try and do now.
Bells Beach, a surfer's paradise.
Africa's highest peak, Mount Kilimanjaro, is situated in the northeast of Tanzania. The country is home to a number of areas of outstanding natural beauty. Along with Kilimanjaro, there's also Tanzania's famous national parks, Serengeti, Arusha and Lake Manyara. They boast some of the richest ecosystems on the planet. Yet for all its natural beauty, Tanzania remains one of the poorest countries in the world. The majority of the East African nation's 55 million inhabitants live a subsistence lifestyle in rural areas. Around a quarter of the population live in towns and cities, the largest of these being Dar es Salaam. The country gained independence from the United Kingdom in 1961. Over the years, Tanzania has managed to avoid the serious internal conflicts that have plagued a number of other African nations. The country's first and longest-serving president was Julius Nyerere. He was affectionately known as Mwalimu, or teacher. One of Africa's most respected figures, he led the country up until 1985. During his life, Nyerere had loved to play bao, a traditional board game played in many parts of Tanzania, as well as in neighbouring countries along the East African coast.
It's because Mwalimu and other leaders enjoyed this game so much that we're doing everything we can to promote bao. We want people to like bao as much as football. This game has been around for a very long time. It's been passed down from our forefathers. Many regions have their own version of the game. The one that we're playing is known as Swahili bao, and that's the version that most people in Tanzania play.
Whilst in office, Julius Nyerere set up the Ministry of National Culture and Youth. The aim was to help foster a sense of national identity after years of colonial rule. And as a consequence, traditional games such as bao began to thrive. The rules of bao are very intricate, but in essence, the winner is the person who manages to capture the counters from their opponent and place them in their square-shaped store on the board. Kasim Asamam Chumboy is General Secretary of the Tanzania Bao Association.
Bao players are not allowed to drink or be drunk during games. They're not allowed to cheat or get help from someone else either. During competitions, your opponent can't be your neighbour, because your neighbour knows your weaknesses in bao better than anyone else. In matches, you have 1 minute to think, and then you have another minute to make your move.
A successful bao player must have good powers of concentration and be able to anticipate their opponent's moves.
Bao is a great mind sport. You have to use your head all the time because it's a very mathematical game. So, for anyone who can't add up, it's hard to play and win at bao. But, on the whole, it's not a very difficult game. You just need to be able to do the calculations. You can teach anyone how to play bao in a day.
Performance-enhancing drugs are, of course, banned in the bao world. But saying that, players here do get through copious amounts of coffee during matches.
The coffee that we drink gets into our bloodstream and gives us more energy. I made you laugh, so you know what I mean.
Although the game is still primarily a social pastime, there are bao clubs all over the country and national competitions are staged regularly. And it's fair to say that this game stirs up quite a lot of passion in Tanzania.
I guess it's a bit like football in Europe. There's a lot of rivalry between teams there, and it's more or less the same here with bao. There are some big rivals in bao, and people have their favourite teams, and players who they like to follow. And of course, everyone wants to win.
As with so many traditional sports and games all over the world, Bao serves an important social purpose. It gives people the chance to get together, engage in friendly banter, discuss daily topics, and, if only for a moment, forget all their troubles.
And now for the answer to this week's sporting question. Earlier in the show, we asked you to name the female tennis player who's won the most consecutive US Open titles in the Open era. The answer is Chris Evert, who won it 4 times between 1975 and 1978. The right-hander would claim victory twice more at Flushing Meadows, putting her on a record 6 US Open singles crowns with Serena Williams. During a glorious 17-year career, the American won a total of 18 majors and was the year-ending world #1 7 times. Her win percentage in singles matches is higher than any other player, male or female, in the Open era. Evert is now a respected sports broadcaster.
This season, Luton Town returned to the second tier of English football for the first time in 12 years. The last decade has been a roller coaster for the team and its fans. In 2008, the club were heading towards 3 straight relegations when a consortium led by Gary Sweet took over the club.
The club was in a real mess. It was an absolute disaster. When the club went into administration in 2007, not only did it leave us with debts and losses of about £600,000 per month at the time from the previous owners who didn't really have the club's best interest at heart. What it did was also give us, effectively due to their crimes, a 30-point deduction for crimes we didn't commit. That's by the Football League and the FA, and that effectively condemned us to life in the 5th tier in the conference, non-league football for us for that season.
Promotions in 2014 and 2018 saw Luton return to the 3rd tier of English football. In January this year, the club were 2nd in League One and looked to be on course for back-to-back promotions.
We were playing great football and in a great position, looking cautiously at promotion, and then we lose our manager in the middle of a transfer window, which isn't an ideal time to lose a manager. But fortunately we had Mick Harford, who was our recruitment officer, who we asked to relieve those duties to come and manage the club for a temporary period while we found another one.
I was doing the recruitment. Gary asked me if I could take over the caretaker role, and obviously that's what I thought it was. I thought it was only going to be for maybe 2-3 games to see where we were, to see where we were about, to bring a new manager in and just continued. And we had some success and we kept winning games. And Gary saw fit not to change it in terms of he didn't want any disruption, and we carried on till the end of the season, and thankfully it all turned out great.
He took us to the top of the league and effectively won us promotion with the team we had, and it was a fantastic achievement from not just Mick but everybody at the club, including the players and the supporters.
For Mick Harford, leading Luton back to the Championship brought his managerial career at the club full circle, having been in the hot seat during its darkest days.
I was at the helm when we were deducted 30 points by the FA in the Football League, and it was a real tough ask. I was the manager then, and it was my watch when we got relegated, so you do feel responsible for being in charge of the football club and getting relegated out of the Football League. The fans will always forgive me. We have a great relationship with the fans. I've got total admiration for them, for the way they supported the football club, and they wouldn't pin any blame on me. But there was a bit of redemption there for me in terms of going out of the Football League. For me to be in charge and get the club into the Championship, it's absolutely a massive thrill and puts us back where we deserve to be.
Luton are focused on life in the Championship and beyond. At the top of the agenda is moving from their ageing home of Kenilworth Road. The club were granted planning permission for a new stadium in the town centre, as well as a mixed-use development which will provide a much-needed boost to the area.
One of the initial cornerstones of 2020 was, in fact, to use the authority of the football club to reinvigorate the town. And we always also had the vision of building a new football stadium. We didn't quite imagine that the schemes that we're developing would be so large and so instrumental to the revitalisation of Luton. But we're very, very proud to be in a position that actually it's having a massive impact in the town right now, and going forward it's going to be huge. You know, we've got developments that are going to bring 10,000 jobs and around £250 million per year to the local economy. So Luton Town Football Club is going to be a major asset to the town and a huge influential player in how the town grows and continues to do so.
The biggest victory at the football club this season has been the planning application for Power Court and Newlands Park, which has been granted. So that is massive for the football club, and allied with the team getting promotion, it's been a fantastic year. So it's been a combination of really hard work from the management and from the board, and obviously backed by the magnificent supporters.
Whilst success on the pitch has been imperative in recent years, the club have also tried to lead the way with a number of initiatives away from it.
Maybe we're old-fashioned in this way, but we feel that football club custodianship or ownership should be really deep-rooted into the community. We are from the community, the people that own the football club as it is now. But we feel actually that clubs have a responsibility, and we take that as a duty to pass back some of the inspiration that our sporting success can deliver into the community. And we do that through a number of areas, not just community coaching schemes, an awful lot of charitable work, but actually things like, you know, paying the living wage, where none of our staff can live under the poverty line. We refuse to have gambling on our shirt sponsors as our shirt sponsors, because that essentially encourages gambling to minors, which is a problem in this town and actually in the UK. So there are a number of initiatives that we've done that are kind of groundbreaking. We're the first club to do those things in many respects. My view and the board's view, and I'm sure the supporters will back that view, is that we'd like to be a Premier League football club, and an established Premier League football club at that. But actually the impact that we can also have on the town as well will have that, bring that success right throughout the community of the town of Luton and into Bedfordshire.